Assalamualaikum everyone, I'm Dr. Aisha. Today we are going to learn about corporate governance mechanism, which is based on Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance 2017. Stay tuned. Now we look at the function of Board of Directors according to Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance. All directors should objectively discharge their duties and responsibilities at all times as fiduciaries in the interest of the company. Every director is required to keep abreast of his responsibilities as a director and of the conduct, business activities and development of the company. To enable the board to discharge its responsibilities in meeting the goals and objectives of the company, the board should, among others, together with senior management, promote good corporate governance culture within the company, which reinforces ethical, prudence and professional behavior. Review, challenge, and decide on management's proposals for the company and monitor its implementation by management. Ensure that the strategic plan of the company supports long-term value of creation and includes strategies on economic, environmental, and social considerations underpinning sustainability. Supervise and assess management performance to determine whether the business is being properly managed. Ensure there is a sound framework for internal controls and risk management. Understand the principal risks of the company's business and recognize that business decisions involve the taking of appropriate risks. Set the risk appetite within which the board expects management to operate and ensure that there is an appropriate risk management framework to identify, analyze, evaluate, manage and monitor significant financial and non-financial risks. Ensure that senior management has the necessary skills and experience and there are measures in place to provide for the orderly succession of board and senior management. Ensure that the company has in place procedures to enable effective communication with shareholders and ensure the integrity of the company's financial and non-financial reporting. Key responsibilities of chairman according to Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance 2011. This includes providing leadership for the board so that the board can perform its responsibilities effectively, setting the board agenda and ensuring that board members receive complete and accurate information in a timely manner, leading board meetings and discussions, encouraging active participation and allowing dissenting views to be freely expressed, managing the interface between board and management, ensuring appropriate steps are taken to provide effective communication with stakeholders and that their views are communicated to the board as a whole, and leading the board in establishing and monitoring good corporate governance practices in the company. Separation of CEO and Chairman. Separation of the positions of the Chairman and CEO promotes accountability and facilitates divisions of responsibilities between them. In this regard, no one individual can influence board's discussions and decision-making. The responsibilities of the Chairman should include leading the board in its collective oversight of management, while the CEO focuses on the business and day-to-day management of the company. This division should be clearly defined in the board charter. Independent Directors definition based on listing requirement practice note 13. Independent directors means a director who is independent of management and free from any business or other relationship which could interfere with the exercise of independent judgment, or the ability to act in the best interest of an applicant or a listed issuer. Without limiting the generality of the foregoing, an independent director is one who is not an executive director of the applicants, has not been within the last 2 years, and is not an officer, except as a non-executive officer of the said corporation, is not a major shareholder of the said corporation, is not a family member of any executive director, officer, or major shareholder of the said corporation, is not acting as a nominee or representative of any executive director or major shareholder of the said corporation, has not been engaged as an advisor by the said corporation under such circumstances as prescribed by the exchange, has not engaged in any transaction with the said corporation under such circumstances as prescribed by the exchange, or is not presently a partner, director, or major shareholder, as in the case may be of a firm or corporation. Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance definition of independent directors. The Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance recommended that the term independent should refer broadly to the crucial aspects of independence, and this would be independence from management and independence from a shareholder. The significant shareholder is further constrained by requirement that the component of the board reflects the investing public or the minority shareholder in the company. A non-executive director is not a full-time director, but one who attends board meetings to contribute his expertise to the board. It was also clearly noted that a non-executive director may not necessarily be independent, in that he could have business and management arrangements with the corporations or other relationships, including family relationships with other directors. It then seems clear that the truly independent director should not be involved in the day-to-day running of the company's business or indeed be involved in management. He should be free from any business or other relationships which could interfere with the exercise of independent judgment or the ability to act in the best interests of the corporation. The independent director has a crucial role in ensuring that the board is an effective board and through which good corporate governance can be promoted throughout the entire company. Among other things, the independent director is expected to provide a balanced and independent view. It calls for persons of caliber, integrity, with requisite business acumen, and the credibility, skills, and experience to bring independent judgment on issues of strategy, performance, and resources, including the key appointments and standard of conduct in the company. Senior independent directors. Where the board appoints a senior independent director, the role of senior independent director should also be explained in the board charter. This may include the senior independent director acting as a sounding board for the chairman, an intermediary for other directors when necessary, and the point of contact for shareholders and other stakeholders. Whistleblower. The board should encourage employees to report genuine concerns in relation to breach of a legal obligation, including negligence, criminal activity, breach of contract and breach of law, miscarriage of justice, danger to health and safety or to the environment, and the cover-up of any of these in the workplace. The board should ensure that its whistleblowing policies set out avenues where legitimate concerns can be objectively investigated and addressed. Individuals should be able to raise concerns about illegal, unethical, or questionable practices in confidence and without the risk of the reprisal. Board composition. At least half of the board comprises of independent directors. For large companies, the board comprises a majority of independent directors. The tenure of an independent director does not exceed a cumulative term of 9 years. Upon completion of the 9 years, an independent director may continue to serve on the board as a non-independent director. If the board intends to retain an independent director beyond 9 years, it should justify and seek annual shareholders' approval. If the board continues to retain the independent director after the 12th year, the board should seek annual shareholders' approval through a two-tier voting process. Board diversity. Appointment of board and senior management are based on objective criteria, merit, and with due regard for diversity in skills, experience, age, cultural background, and gender. The board discloses in its annual report the company policies on gender diversity, its targets and measures to meet those targets. For large companies, the board must have at least 30% women directors. Chairman of Nomination Committee's role. As chair of the nominating committee, the independent director or a senior independent director shall lead the succession planning and appointment of the board members, including the future chairman and CEO, and lead the annual review of the board effectiveness, ensuring that the performance of each individual director is independently assessed. The annual assessment on individual directors should include an evaluation of their will and ability to critically challenge and ask the right questions, character and integrity in dealing with potential conflict of interest situations, commitment to serve the company, due diligence and integrity, and confidence to stand up for a point of view. Remuneration committees. Directors' remuneration, which is well structured, clearly linked to the strategic objective of a company, and which rewards contributions to the long-term success of the company, is important in promoting business stability and growth. However, weak policies which do not appropriately link directors' remuneration to company strategy and performance can diminish shareholders' return, weaken corporate governance, and reduce public confidence in business. The committee should only consist of non-executive directors, and a majority of them must be independent directors. Fair remuneration is critical to attract, retain, and motivate directors and senior management. The remuneration package should take into account the complexity of the company's business and the individual's responsibilities. In addition, the remuneration should also be aligned with the business strategy and long-term objectives of the company. The board should also ensure that the remuneration and incentive for independent directors do not conflict with the obligation to bring objectivity and independent judgment on matters discussed at board meetings. There is detailed disclosure on name basis for the remuneration of individual directors. The remuneration breakdown of individual directors includes fees, salary, bonus, benefit in kind, and other emoluments. The detailed disclosure allows shareholders to make an informed decision when voting on the approval of directors' remuneration and to consider the appropriate remuneration package, taking into account the responsibilities of the directors. The disclosure of how the remuneration is measured allows stakeholders to understand the link between senior management remuneration and the company's performance. This will also enable stakeholders to determine whether the remuneration is fair and able to attract and retain talent. Audit Committee. An effective audit committee can bring transparency, focus, and independent judgment needed to oversee the financial reporting process. However, the ultimate responsibility for a company's financial reporting process rests with the full board. The audit committee plays a key role in a company's governance structure. An independent audit committee is better positioned to rigorously challenge and ask probing questions on the company's financial reporting process, internal controls, risk management, and governance. The appropriate levels of knowledge, skill, experience, and commitment of its members is critical to the audit committee's ability to discharge its responsibilities effectively. A strong understanding of financial reporting process complemented with a wide range of diverse perspectives can significantly strengthen the quality of audit committee deliberations. The chairman of the audit committee is not the chairman of the board. Collectively, the audit committee should possess a wide range of necessary skills to discharge its duties. All members should be financially literate and are able to understand matters under the purview of the audit committee, including the financial reporting process. All members of the audit committee should undertake continuous professional development to keep themselves abreast of relevant developments in accounting and auditing standards, practices, and rules. Roles of Audit Committee according to Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance. The chairman of the Audit Committee, together with other members of the Audit Committee, should ensure, among others, that the Audit Committee is fully informed about significant matters related to the company's audit and its financial statements and addresses these matters. The Audit Committee appropriately communicates its insights, views, and concerns about relevant transactions and events to internal and external auditors. Audit committees concerned on matters that may have an effect on the financial or audit of the company are communicated to the external auditor, and there is coordination between internal and external auditors. In assessing the suitability, objectivity, and independence of the external auditor, the Audit Committee established policies and procedures that consider, among others, the competence, audit quality, and resource capacity of the external auditor in relation to the audit, the nature and extent of the non-audit services rendered, and the appropriateness of the level of fees, and obtaining written assurance from the external auditors confirming that they are and have been independent throughout the conduct of the audit engagement in accordance with the terms of all relevant professional and regulatory requirements. The Audit Committee members are expected to be financially literate and have sufficient understanding of the company business. Risk Management Committee. The board establishes a Risk Management Committee which comprises a majority of independent directors to oversee the company's risk management framework and policy. The board should determine the company's level of risk tolerance and actively identify, assess, and monitor key business risks to safeguard shareholders' investment and the company's asset. The board should, in its disclosure, include a discussion on how key risk areas such as finance, operations, regulatory, compliance, reputations, cybersecurity, and sustainability were evaluated, and the controls in place or mitigate or manage those risks. Internal audit. An internal audit function helps a company to accomplish its goals by bridging an objective and disciplined approach to evaluate and improve the effectiveness of risk management, internal control, and governance processes. These functions serve as an important source of advice for the Audit Committee concerning areas of weaknesses or deficiencies in internal process to facilitate appropriate remedial measures by the company. Internal audit should be carried out objectively and is independent from the management of the company and the function which is audits. Thus, it is essential that the person responsible for internal audit reports directly to the Audit Committee. The Audit Committee should also decide on, among others, the appointment and removal, the scope of work, performance evaluation, budget for the internal audit functions. In developing the scope of the internal audit function, the Audit Committee should satisfy itself that the person responsible for internal audit has relevant experience, sufficient standing and authority to enable him to discharge his function effectively. Internal audit has sufficient resources and is able to assess information to enable it to carry out its role effectively, and the personnel assigned to undertake internal audit have the necessary competency, experience, and resources to carry out the function effectively. Communication with shareholders. The board ensures there is effective, transparent, and regular communication with its stakeholders. Communication with stakeholders can be achieved through various means. This includes establishing an investor relations function, conducting engagement forums, organizing investor, analyst, and media briefings, and use of electronic means such as website, social media, and etc. External governance mechanism comprises of auditor, financial analysts, as well as large shareholders or block holders. Auditor conduct auditing tasks to the firms, detect irregularities of financial misstatement, and provide opinions accordingly. Auditor means the external auditor that has been appointed by the firms. Financial analysts are journalists, remisers, brokers in the stockbroking firms. They examine the prospect of the business and provide recommendation whether to hold, to buy, to sell the firm's shares in the stock market. Block holders are the large shareholders in the firms. They have huge voting power and have power to remove CEO or directors in the board and have power to ask for specific information from the companies. Both internal and external mechanisms of corporate governance are important in ensuring proper governance process in the firms. That's all class for today. I will see you again in another topic next time. Assalamualaikum and have a nice day to all of you. Bye-bye.